This show is fantastic. I had such a blast watching it. I haven't finished it yet. I've got a couple episodes left, but wow. Starting with you, I guess, Michael, what did you think when you first read this and then got a chance to step into this character?
I just thought it was really funny. Like the script itself was actually well written in a way where everybody I know who read it was like, "Oh yeah, that show is really funny and it's actually laugh out loud funny." And that's hard to do when you're reading things. This is also like post-strike, this show,
Yeah.
and so I think everybody was really grateful to have a job, number one.
Yeah.
But
A lot of people read that script going
a
around town.
lot of
Yeah,
people read that script. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like anybody who I spoke to that I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do the show late." They were like, "Oh, that show's really funny." I also just really thought the character of Richie was a fun part to play because he was, very free. In my own head. There was something that I thought there was, you know, a very freeing quality to Richie and uninhibited in how he speaks to Ruby. He's not really afraid to be mean. I'm a very like I'm a very like people pleasing person. So playing a character that was not really afraid to be honest with somebody was kind of, um, a relief. It's kind of nice for me, but also just, it had a great hook. Like the show has such a high concept hook, but it's also, a show about relationships. So it was just really fun.
Andre, I think you have some great scenes in the first, even just the first couple episodes, which rely a lot on Stephanie and Sasha. But wow, so what about you? What did you think of this role?
Oh, I thought it was fun. Like, I mean, one of the first two episodes, the scene I had with Stephanie was the one I did the chemistry with her for. So I don't know, like it was fun to see that scene for myself just because I was like, oh, there it is when it was all done. And we were shooting outside at night in Vancouver and it was supposed to rain and we made it throughout without it raining, which was really shocking. But sorry, I'm all over the place. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. No, it
What
was
is
great.
Stephanie like to work with? Because she is such a presence and carries every scene. What is she like, to work alongside?
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a number one on the call sheet and also a producer of a show and also have as much work to do as she did. Like she had a lot
She
of
had
lines
so much homework
every day.
Yeah.
And she was so like generous with her time and energy and was just like, very very thoughtful in how she would, care for everybody on set. Like
Yeah.
obviously, a pro, but she just knew not only the cast but the crew as well. Like she was just generous and caring and wanted to create a special experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, she was a good team captain. I remember even like it gets very like wordy in a good way, but like to wrap your head around like it's sort of like it took me a minute to get into like the dialogue and then I remember she put me in touch with like her assistant to like just run lines with me, which was like very helpful. And it's like a very simple thing, but just like stuff like that where she's got all this stuff going on, but she's still making time to do that, which is great.
I felt bad one moment because, well, actually more than one moment I did this where it was such like a casual relationship we had where I would like come into town and I would be like, oh, I just went to this great, sushi. She would be like, oh, you have to go to this. So she would like talk about all, very casually, just like throw out like recommendations, anything. And then I would find myself just like kind of sitting there and be like, oh yeah, what was that sushi place called? And I would realize she would like be in the middle of working on like the next 7-page scene she would have, and she would be like, "Sorry, just 1 minute." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's good. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. Like just like concentrate on what you have to do."
But also, Stephanie has great restaurant
Yeah, good
recommendations.
taste. She has good taste.
Yeah, it's her fault.
It is her fault. She was my de
What
facto person. I would be like, "What's
Yeah.
a good, Italian place? What's a good Thai place?" She would always know.
what do you think is going to blow audiences away? Because, and you don't have to say specifics, but I mean, what do you think people are going to take away from this? Because it is shocking at times.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think for people expecting a traditional rom-com, they'll kind of get that itch scratched, but they'll get a lot more with it. You know what I mean? Which I think is cool because I feel like I mean, you find out about the sort of twisted dark side of it in the trailer, but also just watching it, like if you didn't know that, you wouldn't even expect that to come, I think. But
Yeah.
because it's sort of presented in such sort of a not a silly way, but like in a more colorful, playful way than you'd expect for that kind of like twisted stuff to happen in. So
Yeah, and as dark as it is and as unpredictable as it is, hopefully it's that, that like warm, cozy feeling like you watch. I'm not comparing it to Friends, but like when you watch a sitcom from the 90s or something, like you can just sit and just like kind of tune out and just like be in the world and kind of go, it has that vibe to it, which I think is really nice. I think people will be surprised by that. There's something
And
to it.
it's so funny.
Yeah.
So I remember reading it and being like, something gnarly will happen, but like, how are we going to get back to sort of the playful thing? But then it totally pulls it
Right.
off. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. The show is just a blast. I'm hoping there's going to be a season 2 that we can talk about the future too.
Thanks. Same here.
Thanks a lot.